Before we descend into the chaos of Dread Empress Madoka, let's take a quiet moment to talk about Homura. In just a few days, I'll be releasing a full-length breakdown on how Evil Madoka came to be and how Homura's time loops may have been the spark that shattered her. But before we talk about that final moment, I want to explore some of the quiet ones. This video is something of a reflection. I'll look at 3 important fan-submitted questions that try to get to the heart of who Homura really is. Not just the time traveler, not just the soldier, but the girl underneath all of that. What was Homura's happiest memory? What was her life like before she got sick? And does she really care about the other girls? Or are they just background noise in her obsession with Madoka? Each of these theories reveals something small but deeply important about how we understand Homura's heart. And if you're curious about where all this leads, keep watching because Dread Empress Madoka is coming. But first, let's talk about Homura. What do you think Homura's happiest memory is? I think it's a toss-up. It's between the moment that Madoka hugged her in one of the earlier timelines, which I think is so adorable because Madoka is so enthusiastic, and you can clearly tell that Homura was surprised, but she's kind of leaning into the hug and she's so happy. And then you pretty much have Mommy. You know, it's funny. This scene used to be heartbreaking to me because you pretty much have Mommy there with this with the smile on her face that looks kind of sad. It's like, I am forever alone. Shut up. She's totally being left out of it. But yeah, I think it's a toss-up between this moment and the moment that Homura, as Homura appears in Madoka's class and holds her hand. Because this is the moment after Homura makes her wish to Kyubey for the first time, and she has the thought in her head of, oh my god, I finally get to see you again, Miss Kaname-san, and I get to finally save you. I know that that's what's going on in her head. This is also before all the time loops happen, and Homura is basically miserable because she keeps failing at altering Madoka's fate. When she first meets Madoka, I would imagine that's probably up there too. But yeah, I'm gonna go with this moment when she is reunited with Madoka after seeing her die, after just becoming a magical girl, and when she still has not suffered all that trauma that happens in the later timelines. Do you think Homura truly only cares about Madoka, or does she care for the others too? I think that Homura does care for the other girls, not as much as she cares about Madoka, but I think there have been some instances where she has shown that. Like, I guess an example is when Madoka throws Sayaka's soul gem over the bridge and it hits the truck. Homura was so quick to react, and she literally struggles. Like, you can literally see it on her face. She was struggling so much to try to catch up to that truck, and so that she could save Sayaka. So this is a great example of her, and I think a lot of people don't really pay attention to this, but yeah, I think Homura really does care for the other girls, and I think it's really big of her because Homura goes through so much, and Sayaka is somebody who we know within the other timelines and within the original Madoka series does not always treat Homura very good. We've seen lots of examples of this, of her being really harsh with Homura. So I think it's amazing that despite all of the treatment that she's gotten from Sayaka, and because of all the timelines that Homura was forced to endure, that she was still able to find it within herself to care about Sayaka even after everything she's been through. This is an example. I think it's obvious that she cares about the other girls too. She's had moments with Kyoko. You know, Kyoko was the girl that she trusted the most to do the investigation with when it came to trying to figure things out in the third movie. You can even see Homura's remorseful expression. Kyoko is about to die in the original anime. So I think that these are examples of the fact that she does care for Kyoko. And I think Mommy's pretty obvious. You know, Mommy was somebody that helped Homura to basically become who she is. You know, it's basically been mentioned that Mommy basically taught her how to use a gun. It was revealed in one of the timelines. You know, and obviously Homura, you know, is obviously experiencing sorrow when Mommy is actually killed by Charlotte. So yeah, I truly do believe that Homura does care for the other girls. It's just not at the level of how much she cares for Madoka. I don't think she could ever care about somebody as much as she cares about Madoka. That's basically her wife and whatever else you want to say about it. What do you think Homura's life was like before she got sick? This is an interesting question, especially since we're not really given much of an answer, but what we can infer based on what the Madoka series tells us is Homura's life probably was not very good. The series doesn't even tell us if Homura ever had a life where she wasn't sick. I mean, we're not told whether or not Homura gets sick later or if she was always sick. I kind of think that there's more to go off of, that Homura has always been a person who's very sickly. She's kind of like that shut-in girl who didn't really spend a lot of time with people because she was always ill and physically was not able to do a whole lot. So I think it's more likely that Homura has always been sick. I don't think there's any evidence that would suggest otherwise. The way that she deals with people and the lack of social skills, I think, point to the likelihood that she has always been sick and has always dealt with not being around people as a result, spending most of her time in the hospital. But it would be interesting to imagine a happy, healthy version of Homura, aka Momura, who maybe existed without getting sick. But at least the good news is that whatever sickness Homura has at the beginning of the series, she's ultimately able to get over it after becoming a magical girl and going through certain timelines. I would argue that her resilience in being able to deal with all the different timelines has helped her to develop some type of a resolve where she wasn't sick anymore, which is very interesting. The series doesn't go out of its way to tell us why Homura is able to recover from being sick. This is probably a really good theory idea that I could do at some point, where we talk about how Homura was able to overcome being sick due to the different timelines. So yeah, I think I will make a theory about that. So, those were 3 of the most important questions we've ever asked about Homura. But not every moment of hers is quiet. Some moments are devastating. In just a few days, or maybe right now, depending on when you're watching, I'll be releasing a full breakdown of Homura's final irreversible moment. The moment that gave birth to something unrecognizable. A version of Madoka darker than anything we've seen before. And it all started because of Homura, because of the time loops, because of the obsession. If you're watching this before Friday, keep an eye out. That video will drop very soon. But if you're here after Friday, the link to Dread Empress Madoka should be right here on screen. Click it, watch it, and witness the final turn in Homura's story. Thank you for watching and for caring about Homura as much as I do. Drop your thoughts below and I'll see you in the next one.